So aloha, everyone. Thanks for joining the Global Activation Community Call. I apologize if I had the meeting just bleeped out for whatever reason. I'm not exactly sure why, but welcome to November's Community Call. I'm excited for you to be here. And I would love to get this started with doing a grounding invocation, my usual grounding invocation. So if everyone can take a moment and find a resting place that's comfortable for them, putting their feet on the floor, laying down, and just taking some deep breaths into the body, pulling ourselves here into this moment, fully present and aware through the breath, bringing it in and out. And we call forth upon the divine Christ consciousness to enter into this space, its golden light infiltrating and penetrating down into every single last molecule, reminding us of the unity consciousness that we are one and the one is us. We call forth upon the angels and the archangels and the Elechoim, as they are the ones who wrap us in their wings of unconditional love, reminding us of the celestial kingdom and our divine grace. We call forth upon the masters and the ascended masters, the ones who have walked this earth before us and now from above gently guide us along our own personal path of ascension and enlightenment. We call forth upon the Galactic Light Federation, the beings of the light of the highest light that are here to assist us with the sacred technologies for this call today. And I call forth upon Mother Gaia, as she is the one who roots us, births us, sustains us, grows us, nurtures us, and holds us. May we remember that we are her and she is us. We call forth upon the wisdom of the trees as they root deep into the earth, drinking up the sweet nectar of Mother Gaia and reaching high into the heavens, breathing in the light. The trunk, a sturdy reminder of our courage and our strength, and the branches teach us to bend and blow with life as it chooses to blow us. We call forth upon the wisdom of the rock people as they are the Akashic record holders of the past, the present, and the future, knowing that all is simultaneously happening right now. And we call forth upon the elementals as they are the ones who connect us into our childlike sense of nature and remind us that all the world is magic, held in the container of the north, the south, the east, and west, above and below, and of course within. We are so grateful for all those that have chosen to join us today. And so it is, and so it shall be, and so it was. Ooh, grateful to be here. I have put together a really awesome PowerPoint for you guys today. It's all about what we just experienced with the 1111 gateway. We just had that beautiful portal dimension activation on November 11th, which is where we have a thinning of the veils or cracks in the etheric, where more light and more information can come through for us to access into deeper resources of ourselves and to activate a bridge between heaven and earth. So it's really, it's the realm of the angels that have come in on that day to really support and assist us. And so I wanted to really touch base a little bit about, these specific days and portals of activation that we can use to access to grow into deeper parts of ourselves. And so I'm going to pull up my PowerPoint presentation here if I can, and find my share screen. Let's see. Share. There we go. So let's go into the slideshow. So the 1111 gateway, the bridge to unity consciousness. So this is what we were really activating. I really loved this picture because it really is. I'm going to be talking about the double helix DNA as well as the angelic realms. So I thought that image was just so perfect for today. the activating the bridge of unity. So what does that mean exactly? What are we doing with activating the bridge of unity? Well, you know, there's the collective consciousness, and we talk a lot about the collective consciousness. So what does that mean? What does that mean when we say collective consciousness? Is it the oneness of all? Like, are we all bridging into one another, into everybody's thoughts and understanding so that we have a deeper sense of peace and understanding? I think that's a part of it. But we also have a collective consciousness that is source, the source that moves through us as us, that we are exactly the same as the person that is reflecting in front of us. And it's not necessarily that we're looking at a mass murderer and we're saying, oh yes, like, yeah, I'm a mass murderer, but how is it that we can find those even small sparks of divine love that live within the reflection of the people that are in our lives and see them as that purity of source, the purity of the one field that creates and makes us all. This is the collective consciousness, but not only that, the collective consciousness is the I am that I am. And what I mean by that is the I am source of what moves through me as a reflection of perfection and divinity, is also the I am of the rocks that I'm standing in front of, or the mountains that are looming in front of me, or the clouds. Is there a way for us, and I know that there is, for us to be able to bridge our consciousness and fuse it into the rocks, into the water, into the natural living resources that live around us, so that we see a reflection of ourselves even in these, you know, inanimate objects? So this is the collective consciousness, the interweaving of the self of source, the peeling away of the layers so that we understand these deeper reflections, embodying it and knowing the bridge that this is what we are reflecting back to us in all essence of our lives. So seeing this and living this in the embodiment of who you are is the foundation and the bridge of the heaven on earth, as we are working to, you know, embody this within ourselves, as well as embody it into the Mother Gaia, for her to have her own sense of reflection, because she, as a living entity, is also in her own ascension process. So we have the 1111 field. So this was a specific day, November 11th, where we have like a sacred time. Now, the sacred days, like we also had, you know, the equinoxes and the solstices. We have the 12-12-12, and these are days that people place specific intentions into, and the more intention that is held onto a particular time or object, the way it's used in spiritual rituals and stuff, the more potency it gains. So over the years, as we've tuned into the 1111 field, we actually can access a larger collective consciousness of ritual and activation of potent energy. So these veils thin because there is an impulse of intention that's birthed from the quantum field of nothingness, birthed in through the intention of our minds to give more power into these days and into ceremonial objects. If we use them like feathers or rattles or drums, we have crystals. We may even have, you know, like a perfect example is when we're children and we may have a blanket, or we may have a stuffed animal that was like our security blanket. And the more we held onto it, the more we loved it, the more our energy is infused into it, and the more potent it becomes. We can easily soothe a crying child by handing them their blanket, because that's their sense of love has been infused, their sense of security, their sense of safety is infused into this particular object. So as we infuse more of our intention, as we infuse more of the ritual and sacredness and prayers into the days, or the planetary alignments, or our ceremonial objects, we are creating an absolute potential to manifest. So the 1111 day is a day of manifestation. It's a thinning of the veils. It's an access into the angelic realms. The 11 is the number of the Christed consciousness, and the 11th ray of the Christ consciousness, which is gold, which permeates through the veils as we are moving into the November 11th gateway. And we have the archangels who hold the doorway open for us to find the courage and the strength that it takes to actually birth these new codes and information that come through. Because as we manifest, we're actually also looking at what's working for us, what's not working for us, and are we willing to make the changes possible? Are we willing to reconfigure the way that our body within ourselves constructs itself and perceives the world to recreate a new manifestation to reflect the inner changes that happen? So we have the new perceptions of reality that percolate through the energy centers or the chakras. So when we are in a state of meditation, when we are in a state of one of these galactic doorways, we are bringing through new perceptions of reality that percolate through every single chakra. And I'm not talking just the 7 chakras, I'm talking all the way up through the 12th chakra, all the way down into the star chakra or the earth star chakra. So this transmission of this new energy that percolates through our energy system also brings through like a hitting of codes or encodement in the imaginal system. So these codes that open and pop open through sound and vibration and light and intention stir change within ourselves. And this change within ourselves is like the metamorphosis of the butterfly. So as we are going through this metamorphosis, as we cascade ourselves inside of our cocoon and allow these imaginal cells of shift and change to happen, it's not even really anything that we need to like think about other than placing the intention and the desire into what it is that we want to create, the intention and the desire of what it is that we want our lives to look at. We're really in that birthing doorway, the 1111 doorway, to manifest our longer term goals, especially right now with the way the planetary alignments are. It's not the quick, like I want the quick fix, this is what I want. This is about setting long-term goals and saying, this is where I am, this is where I want to be, and then taking the next steps to what will help create this next manifestation. And it's not what our minds think, it's about what our divine guidance is in the moment. Oh, I'm going to be doing a land activation. Oh, I'm supposed to video record that? I wonder why. Well, I can perceive an idea as to why I'm supposed to, but I'm just going to trust and I'm getting the guidance. And that's what it's about, is listening to that internal guidance. But as these new perceptions percolate into our reality, our guidance, one, opens up into a stronger sense of union with the higher self that encodes within us, but also our perception of our reality shifts. And this is part of the metamorphosis that we're moving into. So we are this connection to the 1111 gateway is actually also connection into the deeper union with the self. So we can access deeper truths and choices of possibility. And we're at a choice point. Like, are we going to choose to stay in the old way? I mean, it's easy. It's easy enough. It's easy enough until it becomes so uncomfortable. Like we're pushed between a rock and a hard place. We're in so much pain that pain actually catalyzes the change. Or can we soften and surrender and know that change is happening? Know that the manifestation of what it is that we desire and dream of can come into reality if we allow the grace to move through us into the greater opportunity that it's literally waiting for us. It's waiting for us right now. There's nothing that we have to manifest per se that isn't already waiting for us. It's about us feeling and opening to the divine grace that one is going to lead us there and reconfigure through the metamorphosis of our internal perceptions of our reality into deeper states of the unified field to create the harmony of divine light. And this will accelerate the evolution of consciousness. Are we able to find the activation and harmony of the divine light within ourselves? And the divine light that expresses as us and reflects at us through all the interactions that we're having at this time in our life. We also have a choice point where we can choose, like, this isn't working for us anymore. Boundaries are really big too. Learning by reflection, like, wow, this really isn't working for me anymore. And how can I make a choice to shift and change this? And then having the courage and the strength to make that change. Because a lot of times what happens is when we change our patterning, The people in our lives don't like that so much because they've fallen into a rhythm or cadence. They've been the reflection of something for us that when we shift that reflection for them, it forces them to look at themselves as well. And then we're not fulfilling something that they need any longer. And so it can activate or trigger, reactions from the people in our lives. And we have to be willing to surrender into knowing that as things cascade and crumble and maybe chaos rattles in our life, that it is actually leading us into something greater. So the universe will stop at nothing to get your attention and encourage you to fulfill your soul's destiny. I want to say that again. The universe will stop at nothing to get your attention and encourage you to fulfill your soul's destiny. And it can be uncomfortable. And the agitation, as I mentioned before, is literally the catalyst designed by your soul to birth this new evolution. Be with it. Allow yourself to sit in those feelings of uncomfort, those feelings of this really sucks, or I feel a lot of agitation, or I feel a lot of shame, or I feel angry. Those fundamental basic root, second, third chakra like activations that deal with our security, that deal with our creativity, that deal with our own personal will, those can be some of the biggest catalysts into change of the evolution. Because as spiritual people, we have a tendency to want to live in the heart, or learn to live in the heart and access these higher states of consciousness, but we ignore these lower chakras, and we have to be the full conduit of the movement up and down through all of the chakras, and each one of them offers its challenges, and each one of us offers its gifts, but we have to be willing to sit with all that is, the gifts and the challenges. So as we sit with the challenges that actually are the gifts, because they are the catalyst forward, the more we dive deeper and deeper and deeper into the root of these challenges, the feelings that we're feeling, the way we can be and sit and really just be like, feel it and acknowledge that it lives there, that's the way to dissipate this stuff. And this in itself is the catalyst to the evolution of unifying ourselves into bridging heaven on earth, because the kingdom of heaven lives within, as they say. So the intertwined spiral of DNA. So this is a really strong image for this gateway that we just moved through. So the 1111 image is like imagining that we have this double helix DNA. We look at the intertwining spiral. Like, look at how the two divine pieces of who our genetic makeup are intertwined. This can also be related into the divine feminine, the divine masculine, into the heavens and the earth. It's so symbolic for so many different aspects of who we are, but this lives within inside of us. It lives within every single one of ourselves. So when we focus on the double helix DNA for the 1111 gateway, or whatever gateway that you want to, focus this energy into, you can use this at any time. It doesn't have to be the 1111 gateway. Every single day is a potent day for manifestation, transformation, and metamorphosis. Every single day. Just those days, like I said, where we place more intention and focus, there is a bit of a catalyst or a concentrated energy for this shift to happen. But if we focus on the double helix DNA, riding up through the inner chakras, the upper chakras, chakra 8, 9, 10, and 11, and 12, and then using that subtle body spiral all the way up into the cosmic web of the infinite source of creation, that spaciousness of the spaciousness, that dark infinite void of space, which is literally consciousness unmanifest, we can actually access the wisdom and information from those places through the double helix DNA and bring that back through our coding and activate those, etheric light codes that are within our body. We also use a double helix spiraling it down through the crown, through all the 7 chakras to the base of the root chakra, and then spiraling that down into the earth star chakra, which is about a foot below your feet. And you can even ride that double helix down into the central core of the earth crystalline core if you want to access into the deepest resources of the etheric grid matrix before source creation was even birthed on earth. So we have access through the DNA using the earth and the cosmic infinite black space of creation to use these light frequencies to activate the coding into these places of reflective Christ consciousness, or the unifying field, as above, so below. So for the earth, so not only is this gateway an access to unifying into the self, but it's also an access to unifying into the earth grids herself, allowing Mother Gaia the accessed information as we work our way through the cosmic web of information. We are also encoding this. Each one of us in our individual frequency is coding this frequency and information down to the earth grids. This is a bridge where our bodies and our intentions are used to support Mother Gaia, infusing divine love and light to the best potential that we have the capacity to hold, but holding the frequency of what our bodies are able to understand and withstand. And it doesn't have to be a mental understanding. It's more of a heart understanding that's beyond the words, like the light language that I use. So I want to just talk about a little bit. I want to bridge you guys into a little bit of a project that I'm working on, because it has to do with the bridging of the heaven and the earth that we're accessing on the 11/11. And this is a new portal opening and grid line activation that I'm working on here down in Bisbee. That's why I'm in Bisbee, Arizona, which is about an hour and a half south of Tucson, right on the Mexican border. And this is a grid map that was done for me by another planetary grid activator that I'm working with that lives in North Carolina. And we're working with a specific ley line that I'm in this home in what's called Naco, Arizona, which is just right outside of Bisbee. So I say Bisbee, but it's called Naco, Arizona. And this house itself is literally placed almost exactly in the center of this particular ley line. And we're in the process of creating spirals. And I'm going to be doing a land activation just up the street, probably tomorrow, actually. And this particular ley line moves from Mount Shasta, so it pulses and originates from Mount Shasta, which, if you know, Mount Shasta is one of the chakra centers of the earth. It's also known to be the violent flame of Saint Germain, so transformation, transmutation, transfiguration into the divine love and the unified field. But what's amazing about this line is that it moves from Mount Shasta through Reno, all the way down through Las Vegas, Phoenix, Tucson, and then underneath the house where I'm living at right now. Let me just tell you that this grid is extremely powerful, and it's actually just being here on this land and sleeping here is creating radical transformation and activation in the bodies. But this grid line not only moves through, and I'm going to show you the southern part of the line in a second, but this grid line not only moves through these major cities, but it also moves through Nevada's atomic bomb testing range. It's about 10 miles east of the actual mines, but it's still being, generated through the frequencies. So you can imagine how distorted some of this frequency that's moving through this line can be, because it's been blasted by 1,200 different devices, both atomic and hydrogen bombs, above and below ground. So there is a lot of catastrophic effects that happen on the earth when we're detonating these kind of things into our sweet little Mother Gaia. As well as even the town of Bisbee was an old mining town, and moving up through this, there's been a lot of mining that's happened. So there's these giant pits where the earth has been gashed open and things have been torn through, not to mention all the Native American wars and the history of our country, and the horrible things that we've done to some of the indigenous people are deeply ingrained in through this line as well. So there's so many different dimensions and layers that are happening as we are working to clear this grid. And and activate it. And so then the southern part of it, we haven't plotted all the way through, but what I've been able to access is, if you notice, which is really interesting, is it's almost directly down the middle of Mexico. So it rides under this house, and then it ends about right outside of Mexico City at a dormant volcano. And you may or may not know, but volcanoes and other sacred spots that have been set up by previous civilizations are like beacon points for these ley lines to like pulse their information through. But there's also an active volcano that is about 40 miles east of this ley line. But what's so brilliant is that this particular ley line will affect 18 million people because of the major cities that it runs through. And if you look at the cities that it runs through, I mean, Las Vegas, Reno, Tucson, Phoenix, all the way through Mexico City. These are some places that could definitely use some transfiguration and love. And so the goal with this particular project is that we are going to activate, I'm going to activate the Saint Germain flame of the violet flame of Saint Germain in through this grid line to help recalibrate and harmonize the divine love through these points where this line lays. It's going to be taken over time because I don't want to create too much of a disruption, but we're going to take the time to slowly percolate this grid frequency and information through this line to support the transfiguration of divine love, bridging heaven and earth. So this center point where I'm sitting at right now in Naco, Arizona, where we're going to create actually a medicine wheel, one of the world's largest medicine wheels, to anchor in a very sacred activation portal point for people to come and visit. What I see when I tune into it is literally an archway of golden light that opens a portal into the heavens. So we're literally creating an earth grid portal of activation for us to be able to, initiate ourselves into these new frequencies. So we're using the earth as an initiation field, just like we use the galactic alignment or the alignment of, or the numbers of 1111 and the day of 1111 to use that as a cosmic alignment. So we're bringing through the cosmic frequencies. This ley line is going to help bring through the earth frequencies to transmute and transform us into these higher states of consciousness. So I just wanted to share a little bit about what it is that I'm working on right now. So like I said, the 1111 gateway is the cosmic portal. Ley lines are the energetic portals of activation. And right now we're bridging an earth portal of interdimensional potential. Because what I have researched is that I was at a conference called Starworks, which was about interplanetary beings as well as consciousness. And I met someone who has actually gone to all these different, amazing activation sites and sacred, temple spaces. And he has literally walked into other portals to other dimensions that exist here on the earth. And one of the things that can actually trigger or activate these portals, that we can literally walk into these, in this reality, in this 3D reality, we can actually walk into these portals, access different beings who transcend and give or transcribe and transmit new frequencies of information for us to access and then bring back. These detonation spots where there were a lot of nuclear power blasts are actually some of the catalysts and triggers into helping activate these portals, as well as some of the sacred places, like Stonehenge and Giza and the pyramids through Mexico and Peru and all of those places. We can literally walk interdimensionally. I've had a lot of access into different places where you can almost bend time and space and like almost open threads of portals in galactic places to bridge these two between us and them. Like we are becoming these interdimensional beings where we're not just totally like harnessed into this third dimensional reality, and part of our consciousness and awakening is acknowledging and knowing that it doesn't just have to be this, like it is so much more than we can even possibly fathom. And so this is what we are really accessing into, as well as bridging this heaven on earth, or these higher consciousness, or the unified field that I talked about earlier. So it's super exciting. I hope you had a good 11/11 experience. I would love to hear. Please, feel free to email me and tell me what you did, if there was a special ritual or something that you did for the 11/11 gateway. The next major one that we have coming up is the winter solstice. So for us in the northern hemisphere, it'll be the darkest dark, the darkest night, and this is our internal inward time. And then in the southern hemisphere, we're getting into the lightest light, so they're in their expanded, going and bridging in the light access of things. So this is, I'm going to bring in a meditation that I think is a really awesome, interdimensional potential portal for us to access this infinite creation in space-time, so that we can actually start to view, see, witness, understand, and live within our multidimensional selves. So that is a little bit of my PowerPoint presentation. Next, we're going to get into the meditation activation that I'd like to bring forth to you all. So if you can take a moment, I'm going to take a drink of my water. And find a comfortable position. Allowing yourself to find a place I'm just going to get my computer back. Taking deep breaths in and out. Feeling your body present here in this moment, and allow yourself to focus. Golden light into the center of the heart. Feeling the 12th ray of the Christ consciousness. Golden light. And the 11th ray of the angelic frequencies of this divine gateway that we just walked through. Taking deep breaths. And allowing the golden light in the heart space to open and expand and unfold the deepest resources of the heart space that have not been touched by the light before, like the blossoming petals of a rose. And then focusing the attention and awareness into the base of the spine. Again, that 12th ray of the Christ consciousness, its golden ray of infinite consciousness and knowledge moves its way up your spine, vertebrae by vertebrae. All the way up into the brainstem and into the pineal gland in the center of the brain. And the golden light in its own consciousness spirals up the double helix DNA encodement through the spine. Feeling it intertwine all the way up to the crown chakra. Now bridging this double helix DNA, golden thread of light through all the chakras, moving it up through the root chakra, the second chakra, third chakra, the fourth chakra, fifth, sixth, and seventh. Moving beyond the physical body, this double helix moves up through the 8th, intertwines into the 9th, sprouting up into the 10th, 11th, and 12th chakra. Feel this golden column of double helix DNA riding up through the entire etheric body to the 12th chakra. And if you feel you would like to expand this double helix up into the infinite space, allow yourself to visualize the golden double helix spiral moving its way beyond the Earth's atmosphere, beyond the clouds, and up into the open, dark space. In between the stars, maybe even connecting into the central sun. And then bridging through that central sun or infinite space frequencies, spiraling back down the double helix, golden strand, back down through the 12th, 11th, 10th, 9th, 8th, down into the physical body of the 7th, 6th, 5th, 4th, 3rd, 2nd, and down into the base of our first chakra. Feeling this pillar of creatrix matrix as it now bursts its way from the root chakra down through into the earth, into the soul, it's the earth star chakra about a foot below our feet. Activating ourselves as the conduit all the way down, spiraling through the earth's crust down into the very, very central crystalline core of Mother Gaia. Speaking directly to her heart from the cosmic web of the universe through our double helix DNA. And bringing your attention and awareness back up into the heart space, feeling that golden heart light. Feel how it pulses. And maybe you can feel pulses of golden light pulsing up and down through the double helix DNA that you've created between the earth and the heavens. And focusing into the heart again, feel a golden ray of consciousness arc its way up, up, up into the unmanifest space of infinite source creation. The dark light of the quantum field of unity consciousness. Our consciousness rides this golden arcway up. And here we get to dance among the stars. Maybe see yourself floating and jumping from star to star. Maybe the star pulses a new light each time your foot hits. And you can even visualize or see your double helix DNA that you've created, looking down on yourself as the being here on this earth. Feeling and sensing this infinite space. And allow yourself in this moment to have communication with the consciousness that lives here. Maybe it's a plasma of sound that moves through you. Omne hianya sanne hiae Vammayatia sunno viandya ke Vammae hianae o Vandya sande viande hianae Vammaete hianae o. Feeling the hum of creation. moving through you, bringing to you the awakening of the next manifest of the infinite potential that lives within you, reflecting to you. Witness and see the pulses of light moving through the double helix DNA strand that you have created as the bridge between heaven and earth. As the sound of the light lightning which resonates through. Feeling the archway of the infinite space open into the angelic realms. Feeling, sensing, seeing all the angels coming in, guiding your heart and the deepest spaces of love. Feeling that doorway of life and birth, that portal that we are birthed through that cascades the most infinite space of love. Yandia sonda viatya sunday. O nyae o yanyae. Omae yanae o. Working with the divine harmony of light and the union of your soul in this moment. Yanae ti yanae yan. Omae nae nae omae yom. Namdia Sunday. Omae yomae yo. Yamae yom Mamae yamae. Allow your consciousness connected to this thread of light from the heart down in the third dimension. Now you latch on from this infinite space onto the double helix DNA that cascades back down. Gently spiraling yourself down this double helix of DNA all the way back down through the crown chakra, down through the third eye, the throat, and into the heart. Allow this frequency of information and consciousness that you've encoded to now birth into the heart space. Feeling this realm expand in the heart and then pulse its way up, back up through the DNA and down through the DNA, down into the earth. As the heart spirals this information upwards and downwards, the intentions of the new manifest, the intentions of the transformation, the intention of the bridging between heaven and earth, bound through the heart. Yasandia TV antiakum brandayana. Rosondia vatia krason divi tia trovantiki. Vrombatayane kia trasandia viet. Voyande viantia sondia krayane. Yanaeyo, Ramaeyo, Ramaeyanaeyo. Feeling that deep sense of peace and stillness as we ride the activation of these light codes, birthing forth a new perception of reality. With intention now, pull back the double helix strands from the center of the earth and from the central sun and infinite space, pulling those back down into the column of light that rides between the base, root chakra, and all the way up through down into the 12th chakra. Feeling that golden pillar of this double helix strand pulsing through your own chakra system. Zoom, zoom, Dom dia santia tia tia zu yon dia siantia tia du yon dia santia siantia yo. Just taking a moment and allowing and feeling what may be percolating inside of your body at this moment. Maybe there's a vibration. We allow our consciousness and awareness to come back into this space through the breath, taking deep breaths in and out, filling up the belly, pulling ourselves back fully and completely into this third dimensional reality that we are in. Pulling it back into the physical body, wiggling the fingers and the toes. And bridging this wisdom and information into the fifth dimensional reality that is being birthed and created through us as us now. Welcome back. Whew, how's everyone doing? We good? Awesome. You all a thumbs up right now. And I want to allow you to obviously feel free to email me or text me if you have any questions about today. And the new transmissions will be up later this evening for this next month. And it has been an absolute pleasure. I hope that we can use these portals of activation to really thread these new levels of consciousness into the encodement of our body. It's one thing to know, and it's another thing to be the I am that I am, as you are. And so I would like to give thanks to all the beings of light that entered into this space today to help us access and awaken these new codes. All the angels, the archangels, the ascended masters, the Galactic Light Federation, and of course, Mother Gaia, the earth, the trees, the rock people, and all the elementals that have been contained within us as us, around us, in this sacred beam of light and frequency that has been initiated today during this collection of people that have come together. It's been an honor and a pleasure, and I hope you all have a really beautiful rest of your day and evening. Aloha.